just in case you didn't get that title of the course the first time. Here it is. All right. So let's just settle into our meditation posture before we start. I think I have to, I'm going to just not share that anymore for the moment. And think about your focus, your aspirations for this course, what drew you here, and what you hope to take home from the course. So we will go through the correct posture later on tonight. But what I wanted to do is just, as we're normally doing in our meditations, just encourage you to sink your feet into the floor, knees are hips width apart and shoulders aligned with the hips. And just contemplate your motivation for wanting to come this evening. Okay. I have quite a few documents open. Okay. Out again. We have 5 sessions. The first session tonight, what we're going to do is look at Buddha and his teachings very briefly. We'll also hopefully we'll have time for a couple of meditations and some interesting historical facts, maybe I didn't even know when I first started. Wait, I think it says screen sharing is paused. Huh? Are you not seeing this? No. You are seeing it. You can see this slide, overview 5 sessions. Strange. Okay,
we're seeing the slide, but it's not a slideshow. It's just
one slide.
It's the slide and then the other slides next to it.
Ah, okay. Let's see. Wow. Okay, let me just escape that. There's the slideshow. That's better, right? So you're just seeing the slide that says course overview 5 sessions? No? Let's try again. Sorry. Let me escape this. All right, let's try again. Start again. Screen share. Here we are. Sorry about this. Too many documents open. So the second, tomorrow we're going to next session we'll look at Buddha's path to enlightenment. Then we'll look at some of the practices of the lower scope as we would understand them in the lamrim. And then practices of renunciation, bodhicitta, and then calm abiding and special insight and tantra. I'm not particularly qualified to be talking about special insight, calm abiding, and tantra, but I'll just do my best. And that's session 5. So we'll start tonight again with Buddha and his teachings. So I'm going to read you something from Lama Yeshe about what he says, what is Buddhism. So you can sit back and meditate, close your eyes and just listen and see how it's landing with you as you're listening to Lama Yeshe's words read by me. Although different people have different views of what Buddhism is, I think it's difficult to say Buddhism is this, therefore it should be like that. It is difficult to summarize Buddhism in a simplistic way. However, I can say that Buddhism is different from what most Westerners consider to be religion. First of all, when you study Buddhism, you are studying yourself, the nature of your body, your speech, your mind. And the main emphasis being on the nature of your mind and how it works in everyday life. The main topic is not something else like what is Buddha or what is the nature of God or anything like that. Why is it so important to know the nature of your own mind? Since we all want happiness, enjoyment, peace, and satisfaction, and since these things do not come from ice cream, but from wisdom and the mind, we have to understand what the mind is and how it works. One thing about Buddhism is that it is very simple and practical in that it explains logically how satisfaction comes from the mind, not from some kind of supernatural being in whom you have to believe. I understand that this idea can be difficult to accept because in the West, from the moment you are born, extreme emphasis is placed on that the source of happiness lies outside of yourself in external objects. Therefore, your sense, perception, and consciousness have an extreme orientation towards the sense world, and you come to value objects above all else, even your life. This extreme view that overvalues material things is a misconception, the result of unreasonable, illogical thought. Therefore, if you want true happiness, peace, and joy, you need to realize that happiness and satisfaction come from within you and stop searching so frantically outside. You can never find real happiness out there, whoever has. Okay, he does go on, but I think this gives you a fair idea. He's saying Buddhism is a psychology, not a religion, although it is classified as a religion. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. So what is Buddhism? So there is no supreme God finger creating you and telling you what to do. Simply a teacher, Buddha, asking you to investigate your own mind. And there's kind of really basically different types of Buddhism. So some of you may have done some Vipassana courses. That is one type. And we're doing a different type than that. So the Hinayana tradition or the Theravada tradition, same, Pali tradition also called sometimes, is focusing on the wisdom aspect of Buddhism. So achieving your own liberation and the cessation of suffering. And the second type of Buddhism is the Mahayana. And then there's another type of Buddhism, I'll go into that later, but the Mahayana wing is becoming enlightened in order to help others. That's compassion, bodhicitta. So in terms of the Hinayana tradition, Theravada tradition, these practices you'll find them in India, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma. That's where they kind of originally came from. And you find different flavors and slightly different techniques in different countries based on the culture of the country. And the Mahayana tradition, the compassion, you'll find in countries such as Nepal, Bhutan, Tibet, Vietnam, Japan, and China. So there are various degrees of practicing the esoteric practices in the different countries, but I'll go into that a little bit later. So the etymology of the word Buddha. Bud implies the utter eradication of all delusion and negativity. Da implies development of all virtues, all positive qualities. So just a little bit of history. This is Nalanda. I don't know if any of you have been to India. This place is in Bihar.
Venerable, we can't.
You can't hear me?
Or we can't see it.
Oh, you can't see
Your
it.
screen is not changing. It's still on the What is Buddhism slide.
No way. Huh. Okay, let me start again. I don't know what's going on. I think it worked last time. Wait. I'm so
It doesn't
sorry.
seem like it's actually going, like when you press the presentation button, it's not going to the full presentation slide. It's just on your regular page that shows all the slides on the left hand. You could just present it from that and we would see all that.
Oh, okay. Maybe we just do it that way. It doesn't look as nice, but we can do it that way. All right. That's kind of strange. So you haven't seen... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Here we are in Nalanda. Can you see this? Can you see Nalanda?
Yep.
Okay. So this is a great monastic university. So many teachings were practiced here. And you can see at the bottom of where there's those little blue signs, they were little cells where, monks were meditating. It was absolutely enormous, this place. Eventually it was burned down by the Muslims. Apparently it took 3 months to burn all the books. That's how much was there. But it was an extraordinary place of scholarship. So this, let me see. So I'm going to go to the next one. And I took this photo when I was there. It's just an extraordinary place. It's so beautiful. I wonder if I can't just, can you
Is
see
that
it?
in India?
It's in
Venerable?
India, yeah. That's a little bit bigger photo. Can you see that? Are you seeing the image? You know what? It's saying screen sharing has been paused. That's strange. I have no idea what's going on. All right.
If you the top where it says slideshow,
It says
click
resume.
on that.
Where? At the top?
Yes. Underneath where it says Buddhism section 1, right below that where it says slideshow, click on that and see if that'll drop down and start your slideshow.
Say that again.
Right underneath where it says
I just stopped
Buddhism.
sharing.
Okay.
Where?
Go
Start
back
again.
there. Go back and share your screen again.
Okay, just wait 1 sec. I have to pull it up now. So sorry. This was what? Okay. I've got this up. Share screen. All right.
Now, right underneath where it says Buddhism section 1,
Yeah.
under that, click on slideshow and it should have a drop-down box.
Sure. Where are you seeing slideshow?
Right where you're
Oh.
right.
Oh.
Play from the start. Over, yep, right there.
Can you see that?
Hmm.
Do you see that?
No,
You're not seeing it. This
We're
is
still
weird.
just
You're not seeing it.
Oh, I know what you need to do.
Uh-huh.
Go up play from the start and the 3 dots, the red, the yellow, and the green dots, and share it big, full screen.
Okay, let me start again. Meanwhile, we're losing time.
Sorry.
No. It's so say again.
In the top left-hand corner,
Uh-huh.
the 3 dots, make that big.
Yeah.
And then go to play from the start.
Are you seeing that?
Let's- Oh,
If this doesn't work, I'm just going to give up because we're
Okay.
wasting time. You can't see that either?
yeah. No, we're not seeing anything.
That is,
Oh, well, your desktop.
you'll see my
So-
desktop. Okay.
Yes.
That is weird. Okay. I don't know why that has happened, but because it worked last time.
Oh, I was going to say you had a pop-up about using subtitles. If you change if you close the pop-up, that may be keeping the rest of the.
Wait, say again.
Okay, when you had the slides up,
Yeah.
on the right-hand side of your screen, there was a pop-up that says, "Do you want to use subtitles? No, thanks." It was like an advertisement for subtitles. If you close that, that may be keeping that screen from changing. It's like an unacknowledged box that needs to be acknowledged before anything else can happen.
Okay, I just closed it. So let's see. Let's try again. And if this doesn't work, I'll just have to. Okay. Now, are you seeing that?
Well, you have to now use play from start.
Okay. Are you seeing that?
No.
Wow.
Oh, well.
This is crazy. So if I show you one slide at a time, do you see that? Okay. So you didn't see the image of Nalanda University?
We were seeing everything that you were showing us before we were trying to do the full screen.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to share that way. And then
We
I'll
saw
try
Nalanda. We saw that slide.
Okay. So then I'll just try and do it, fix it for next time. I don't want to fiddle around too much because we're losing time here. So you can see this, Nalanda, right? Okay. And then did you see that photo? You can see the next photo of Nalanda? Yes. Okay. We're going to have to do it this way. I'm really sorry. You don't get the animation either. So as you've all been saying, Buddhism is about the mind, getting rid of suffering and its causes and leaving you with happiness. It's also a detailed system of ethics, and this is linked to getting rid of suffering and getting happy, believe it or not. It's also a system of developing wisdom and getting rid of ignorance. So Buddha would say that you cannot separate wisdom from happiness, from good ethics. And what he's talking about here in terms of ignorance is not seeing the way things truly exist. So you know how you have these times where you will read an email and you completely misinterpret it. Or, for example, or you have this idea about something is completely wrong. Or, for example, dogs. You know, dogs have a different capacity in terms of their ability to smell. They have capacity because of the amount of sensors that are in their nose, for want of a better word. Yet they don't see things the way we do. They don't see color the same way we do. They don't probably see shape the same way we do. So they're relying a lot on their olfactory senses. So you can see from just these couple of examples that things are not the same for everybody. So this means things cannot be fixed and permanent because they're not the same for everyone. So next I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the life of Shakyamuni Buddha and what the British archaeologists found. And what was so interesting about this, it wasn't till about, I think maybe was it 300 years ago, that they actually found these ruins in Tilarakot, which is on the Nepali side of the Indian-Nepal border. So you can see on the left-hand side, that image gives you a little bit of a better idea. So Piparawa is on the Indian side. So, of course, the Indians think that Buddha was born on their side, and the Nepalis say it was born on their side, but it's quite likely that the border lines change considerably over the years. And the reason the the relics and the historical archaeological sites were not found until then is because around about that area there are enormous amount of, I mean, it's just jungle and snakes and tigers and elephants, dangerous things. And so it wasn't really until the British turned up and said, oh, no worries, we can get through that. And they forged on ahead, and it was them that found these Buddhist sites, which is just kind of like so typical, you know, just give me a cup of tea and I'll just keep going. So this is the palace at Kapilavastu, which was a city within that same area we just looked at. And these are the ruins, obviously. And this is where Buddha grew up. But before we get to another very interesting set of photographs, I just wanted to show you, it was said that his mother was was walking from her palace to her parents' place when she gave birth to Buddha in Lumbini. And again, Lumbini is on the Nepal side. And so this is supposed to be a pillar that was placed maybe on top of a shrine that marks the place where Buddha was actually born, which is in the middle of a forest. So I'm going to go, and hopefully I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to try and share this set of photos here. Let's see how well we're able to do with these guys. Can you see that? Yay. Okay. So this is again, the palace grounds. It's the capital of the Shakya kingdom. So Buddha is often known as Shakyamuni Buddha. So it's from the Shakya clan. So he was a prince in this particular, let's see what happens there. So this is Tularakot. They've uncovered some of the residences and public buildings that would have been in the city, probably outside the palace. Now I love this. I just found this today. So this is the eastern gate of the city of Kapilavastu, which is really the palace where Buddha lived. And he was known as Prince Siddhartha. So he left from this gate with his charioteer, Chana, and his favorite horse to pursue the life of an ascetic monk. So that's where he left. You can sort of imagine him standing there or planning his escape, which is probably what he did. At this point, he had a wife and he had a child. And these are some of the walkways that you can walk around and go in there. It must be absolutely fascinating. You can see there's some Tibetan Buddhist prayer flags in the background there, many shrines. So India is kind of like a fascinating place. Anyway, let's move along. So I'm going to share this slideshow again. So this is the Bodhi tree. It's a relative of the original Bodhi tree, but Buddha, after wandering around for quite a while, decided to sit down, and he made a determination that he was going to work on his mind and see how things truly existed. So he stayed there for quite some time. This tree is very well taken care of there in Bodh Gaya. I've done quite a few retreats there. And, you know, it looks like this old ancient place, but when you go in behind the scenes, there is a camera on almost every single angle of that property. And there's great big color screens where the police are just sitting watching everyone. It's very interesting. This is like India, so this backward country, except this. And so when I was there one time, it looked like, I think this is a Thai community. So they were there, and these elephants are made of flowers. So they were making offerings to the Bodhi tree and doing all their practices, and they were doing a lot of chanting. Yeah, I wish it was bigger. I could show you. And this was my little, when you go to the Bodh Gaya, you go to one of the monasteries and you see that I've got a board there, and then you set yourself up. I had a little cardboard box and I set up my little altar, and then of course it becomes a place for the puppies to come and hang out with you. So these were my 2 puppies. This one, I think the black one was the child of this one here. She's such a beautiful dog, this one, such a sweetheart. And so many practices are done there. So this is a corner for Tibetan Buddhists. There's quite a few monks there. I was doing, and they're also on prostration boards. And every morning, actually, you can sort of get in there at around about 4:30 in the morning. It's so incredibly beautiful. I can't tell you. There's usually some chanting playing, and you walk in early in the morning, and you can set up a spot. And once it's there, people don't move it. And you come back, and around about 5 or 5:30 or 6, there's usually a group of people just giving breakfast to people. It's usually the Tibetan community. They come down and they give you sort of lunch and tea and bread and some dal and things like that. It's really quite sweet. And then you can make a small donation. But you're very well taken care of when you're there. And there is a larger image. So there is a replica of the Mahabodhi Stupa being built. It's almost completed down at Land Medicine Buddha, which is one of our FPMT centers here in the Bay Area. So it was put, yes, this young, not young anymore, Gelug, who is an artist. He's an ex-monk. And many years ago, Lama Yeshe said to him, you should be an artist. So that's what he's done. Anyway. So there are 3. I am wondering if I have the wrong. It's quite possible I have the wrong. Anyway. They talk about this Tripitaka, or the 3 baskets of the teachings. So the sutra is really the kind of like the teachings of the Buddha, the kind of the core Buddha's words. The Vinaya is a set of teachings relating to the monastic rules. And the Abhidhamma is the set of teachings which are commentaries on the sutra and the Vinaya. And they talk about 3 vehicles. So vehicle, yana is vehicle. So they talk about the Pali tradition, which is the Hinayana. And that was when I explained the different countries where the Hinayana tradition is practiced. The Mahayana. Here we're moving into, we're looking at the 2 wings of a bird that, you'll hear about, Venerable Robina talks about quite often. Wisdom and compassion. And you can't, what she says is the bird can't fly with 1 wing. So you have a little bit more of a balanced practice when you're practicing wisdom and compassion. The Vajrayana school is, you'll find it practiced in Nepal, Tibet, Bhutan, and pretty much all over the world now. But that's the mantra tradition. That's the more esoteric practices. Tantra, where you see all the Rossel deities and the nice deities. This is where you see the many practitioners being able to dry their wet sheets in the snow, this kind of thing, these kind of practices. Before I continue, does anybody have anything to share or say or ask? Gosh, the time is going so fast. No? No
Yes,
questions?
I
Yes,
have a
Susan.
question.
Yeah.
The Vajrayana, but isn't it part of the Mahayana at the same time?
Yes, it is. It is.
Oh, okay. It's not
Because
like
there are some, it's a kind of, from what I'm understanding, is a kind of, it's the way it's worded, it looks a bit confusing because we always talk about ourselves as being the Mahayana. We're Mahayanists. There are some Mahayana traditions that don't practice mantra, tantra. So they're practicing, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, but they don't do this additional, the more esoteric teachings. they're not within that tradition. Or if they are, they're not taught widely quite the same way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. How are you all feeling? Before I keep talking, would you like to do a little bit of meditation? We can do a meditation on Shakyamuni Buddha, huh? Yes, let's do that. All right. So please settle in. I do appreciate all of you giving me some technical help. And I have friends who will be able to help me with this. So hopefully by next time, this won't be happening. I need to. I don't know where my. Just pulling up an image for you. All right. This is Lama Yeshe's altar. I used to carry it with him all the time. Anyway, it's an image of Shakyamuni Buddha. So it's quite sweet, and also quite smart to carry, not terribly much. Okay, so let's just settle into a meditation position. Nice, comfortable position. 1 second. Having quite a few technical issues this evening. All right. So just close your eyes. Feet flat on the floor. Lengthen your spine, shoulders align with the hips, and the ears align with the shoulders. And just relax from the crown of the head all the way down to your feet. If you can hear any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then just notice the thoughts that might be arising. Try not to judge them. Take a step back and try and be objective. And just notice if what you're thinking is a story or a plan or a memory. So you can categorize in these ways. Take a nice deep breath. And always remember to breathe when you're on the computer, when you're on Zoom, when you're working or listening to teachings. I've been hearing about a thing right now called screen apnea. So our breathing changes when we're in front of our devices. We spend too much time in front of them. So if you're curious, look it up. But it's something to be aware of, just to be every now and then just check in with your breathing. So we can start actually. Let's just do a 4 count in breath. 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Then exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. And exhale. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a nice deep breath. And imagine in front of you Buddha. So you can look at that little image of that Lama Yeshe used to carry around. But we're imagining something in front of us similar to that, but made of light. Transparent, intangible, radiant. And at the level of your forehead and between 6 and 8 feet away is a large golden throne with jewels supported at each of its 4 corners by a pair of snow lions. And these animals in reality are manifestations of bodhisattvas. They have white fur and a green mane and tail. And on the flat surface of the throne is a seat consisting of a large open lotus and 2 radiant discs representing the sun and the moon, one on top of each other. And these 3 objects symbolize the 3 principal aspects of the path to enlightenment: the lotus, renunciation; the sun, emptiness; and the moon, bodhicitta. And seated upon this is the Buddha, who has attained these realizations and is the embodiment of all enlightened beings. So you just imagine his body is of golden light, and he's wearing the saffron robes of a monk. And these robes don't actually touch his body, but are separated from it by about an inch. And he's seated in the Vajra or full lotus posture. And the palm of his right hand rests on his right knee. And just imagine the fingers are touching the moon cushion, signifying his great control. His left hand rests in his lap in the meditation pose, holding a bowl filled with the nectar. And this is medicine for curing our disturbing states of mind and our other hindrances. And imagine Buddha's face is very beautiful. His smiling, compassionate gaze is directed at you and simultaneously towards every other living being. And just feel that he is free of all judgmental, critical thoughts and accepts you exactly as you are. His eyes are long. They're shaped like lotus petals. His lips are cherry red. And his ears, they're very long. His hair is blue-black, and each hair is individually curled to the right, not mixed. And every feature of his appearance represents an attribute of his omniscient mind. You can imagine rays of light emanating from every pore of Buddha's pure body, and they reach every corner of the universe. And these rays are actually composed of countless miniature Buddhas, some going out to help living beings, and others dissolving back into his body, having finished their work. So try and imagine this for a moment. It's a very dynamic image in front of you, almost like a hologram, and so bright that if it was actually there, you probably would have a hard time looking at it. So imagine this brilliant, brilliant light in front of you, this holy being, compassionate, wise, kind. And if you have a teacher, you can imagine this is the mind of that person manifesting in this form for your benefit. So really feel the living presence of the Buddha in front of you, and we take refuge in him. So taking refuge is more just like seeking shelter, having a rest, feeling some ability to be protected in a way. So you can remember, for those that you know, the Buddha's qualities and his willingness and ability to help you. Many people are willing to help, but not everyone's qualified. So make a strong request from your heart to receive Buddha's blessings to help you become free from all your negative energy, misconceptions, and other problems, and to receive all the realizations of the path to enlightenment. So imagine your request is accepted, and a stream of white light, which is the nature of the enlightened mind, flows from Buddha's heart and enters your body through the crown of your head. So just the same as when the darkness in a room is instantly dispelled the moment a light is switched on, so too is the darkness of your negative energy dispelled upon contact with this radiant light. And as it flows into you, filling your body completely, we will recite Buddha's mantra. If you don't know it, you will pick it up quickly. It's quite simple, but just allow this idea, allow the imagery to flow through you, and imagine the qualities of this Sanskrit mantra also flow through. Oh, Taya Tam Muni Muni Maha Munaye So. Sorry, the wrong tune. Oh, Taya Tam Muni Muni Maha Munaye So. 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 Feel that all your negative energy, all your problems and your subtle obscurations have been completely purified, and your body feels blissful and light. So we'll meditate on that for just a minute. And this time, imagine a stream of golden light descends from Buddha's heart, flows into your body through the crown of your head, and imagine the essence of this light is the excellent qualities of Buddha's pure body, speech, and mind. So, in the teachings they say he can transform his body into different forms, animate and inanimate, in order to help living beings according to their individual needs and their particular states of mind. And with his speech, he can communicate different aspects of the Dhamma simultaneously to beings of various different levels of development and be understood by them in their respective languages. And his omniscient mind sees very clearly every atom of existence and every occurrence, past, present, and future, and knows the thoughts of every living being. Such is his awareness in every moment. And although this does sound extraordinary and impossible, I think you'll find that there are lamas who you may have met, teachers you may have met, who've displayed some level of this capacity. And what you'll notice yourselves after practicing Buddhism for a little while, or doing some meditation or working on your mind, as the kind of obscurations are cleared away, you start to understand things a little bit more. Maybe your mind feels a little bit clearer. you start to see how you can change your habits. And you can notice that perhaps maybe that is possible. If I can do that, so these are extraordinary qualities to be able to see and cognize and take in and be aware of without going crazy. To be at the same time be aware of the mind of a dog and the mind of 60 or 70 or 1,000,000 human beings simultaneously. So imagine these infinite good qualities flow into every part of your body and concentrate on this. Just feel totally blissful as we recite the mantra again. Hotaya tam muni muni mahamunaye soham. Taya tam muni muni mahamunaye soha. 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 Really feel you've received these excellent qualities of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. And imagine you feel blissful and light. You just focus on this for a minute or two. Now imagine the 8 snow lions absorb into the throne into the lotus, and the lotus into the sun and the moon. And they in turn absorb into the Buddha, who comes to the space above the crown of your head, facing the same way as you, a couple of inches above the crown of your head. And melts into light, dissolves into you, comes to your heart chakra. And your ordinary sense of I, which is, most of the time we feel unworthy and burdened with faults and all our other wrong conceptions. So just imagine these all disappear completely when you have contact with this light. And in an instant, you become one with the mind of Buddha, blissful, omniscient, in the aspect of vast empty space. So we'll just meditate like this for a couple of minutes. And imagine you're expanding your mind. Imagine your mind becomes vast like space, vast like the sky. think everyone can relax now. Sorry to drag you out of your meditation. Does anybody have anything they would like to share from listening to a little bit about where Buddha came from, a little bit about his history, and then doing that meditation? Nothing? Should we continue? We might have time for another meditation. Well, let's just see where we get to here. No, I wanted to check in with you. I don't know whether you've done a meditation like that before, and how was that for you?
Yeah, I've done a couple, but nothing ever with like visualization. So it was hard for me to like visualize that. I just kind of defaulted to like my breath, which was easier for me to concentrate on.
Okay,
Definitely
cool.
different for me.
Great. So you've been doing breath meditation before?
So I've been a pretty spiritual person my whole life. In my past Christianity, meditation has never been a forefront, but I've always kind of been spiritual like that. So I've done meditations in the past, and recently I've started doing more breath work. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And the other thing too is not everyone is a visualizer. Not everyone finds that easy. Some people it kind of suits them really, really well, and they find that particularly easy to do. So there are, that's why we have the images up as well. But it's also then you can focus on really a feeling rather than what that looks like. But it also might take time as well. But anyway, thank you for that. Breath work is extremely important. And I think it's quite big right now. People are starting to recognize how important breathing is. So I'm glad you're focusing on that. Okay. Okay, now we are getting back to my technological issues. All right. Now, this is another place in India called Sarnath. And this is Buddha, after he became enlightened, he went into a little retreat at Bodh Gaya, at that stupa, the last photo. And he stayed there for quite some weeks, and then he walked. So, I mean, I'm not sure, how Buddha really got from one place to the next, because this is a good 8-hour drive from Bodh Gaya. But I suspect, I mean, who knows? Anyway, maybe people seem to have plenty of time back in those days. So maybe Buddha took his time, went by however vehicle, whatever was available. But this is where he gave his first teaching. So I also wanted to say that before he went and sat underneath the Bodhi tree, Buddha had some students, and they were practicing these extraordinarily difficult ascetic practices. They weren't eating, they were sitting up for hours and hours on end, days on end. And then when Buddha decided to go his separate way, he actually went and decided that he was going the wrong way, that it was just too much harshness, and he wasn't really going to get anywhere, and he probably would die if he kept doing what he was doing. So he did eventually accept some food from a young girl, and it gave him the strength to be able to continue his practices. So some people in India do continue these ascetic practices, but I think you have to be, anyway, I don't know, I wouldn't judge, but for some people it's their way to practice their spiritual path. Buddha decided, and then after he had something to eat, then he was able to sort of focus on this idea of enlightenment. So actually, and then his students, I think it was about 5 of them, they were really disgusted with him for, eating something. And They just basically threw him away, but then they came back, and they talk about the 3 turnings of the wheel. So the first one was the Four Noble Truths at Deer Park, and we'll talk a bit about the Four Noble Truths next week. The second Noble Truth was at Vulture's Peak in Rajgir. I've been there. It's tiny. I don't know how Buddha talked to all those, and it's you can see on the left-hand side of the image, that's what apparently is representative of the vulture. So that's why it takes quite a bit of time to get up there. It's very high. As you can see, the road is down there below. So Buddha taught about emptiness and compassion up there in Rajgir. And Venerable Rabina asked one Geshe here in San Francisco, Geshe Dakpa, well, where did everybody fit? You know, where was everybody sitting? And Geshe-la said, well, up in the sky, of course. So who knows? So the third turning of the wheel is more detailed explanation of the first 2 turnings. And this is where Tantra comes in. And there is some discussion there may have been a 4th turning, but who knows? So Tantra, Mantra, this is the tradition that we're in as well. So you can see Buddha started quite simply, moved on to more difficult topics. So Buddha was talking about getting happiness and stopping suffering. And so these 4 Noble Truths are, and we will go into more detail next time, but here they are. The first one, and it's really the 4 facts for the noble ones, the enlightened ones. There is suffering. We all know about that. There are causes for that suffering. We can get rid of it, and then how to do it. So that's really basically at the very basic, simple level, what the 4 Noble Truths are. So now we're going to go through the 7-point posture. So I'll just leave the slide up. But what you can do is, if you are sitting in a cross-legged position, your legs would be traditionally with each foot over the opposite thigh. I don't recommend you do this unless you are young and flexible or are practicing yoga. But you can sit in the regular cross-legged position if you wish. But for some people, many of you are actually sitting at your computer with your feet down. So my suggestion would be that you have your feet a hip's width apart, knees a hip's width apart. Your hands are in the meditation mudra, which in our particular tradition is right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. Oh, so it kind of looks, like this. There is probably some channel there that's being activated due to the thumbs touching. And generally, though, for our purposes, when we do our meditations, I really like people to be comfortable. So this is not always going to be available for everybody if you've got issues with your thumbs, your shoulders, your wrists. So you have to have your hands where you are going to be not distracted. So your back, as we went through initially, your shoulders are aligned with the hips. And your ears, hopefully, aligned with your shoulders. Yes, that's right, Shayla. You get a sore neck if you allow your head to fall forward. Our head is extremely heavy. It's about 10 pounds, if not more. So the further forward it is out of alignment from your shoulders, the heavier it becomes. It becomes more and more difficult for your poor old neck and shoulders and upper back to be able to hold you upright. It's also extremely bad for the brain, for your memory, and as we get older and older and we become further and further leaning forward, we're losing our breath capacity. we're looking down, and then of course, because the body wants to know where it's going, we start to look up, and then what happens? You've got a crick in the back of the neck. So keep yourselves upright as much as you can. The eyes. The eyes are traditionally looking along the length of the nose to a spot about a couple of inches ahead, if they were looking at the ground. Generally, the suggestion is to keep your eyes slightly open. I get very distracted visually. I keep them closed. The only thing about keeping your eyes closed is that you might end up kind of wanting to fall asleep or going into some kind of dullness. But with the eyes, occasionally you can just open your eyes a little bit to just crack a little bit of light to come in. The jaw and the mouth. Just keep the jaw as relaxed as possible. And the lips can be slightly apart, but do make sure you're breathing through your nostrils and not through your mouth. There's a lot of, there's been a lot of studies over the, I'd say, past decade, if not more, about nostril breathing versus mouth breathing. So it's almost like your mouth is a little bit just relaxed. You're not kind of holding your mouth shut, but you just keep your mouth relaxed. Your jaw is relaxed. And you can relax the jaw by releasing the temples and by releasing the back of the tongue. Just imagine that relaxing. Traditionally, the tongue is placed on the roof of the mouth. And this, I sort of heard that it was also to do with over a long period of time of meditating, you tend to dribble, and this would help prevent that. James Nestor also explains in his book on breath that this somehow helps with training the muscles in the roof of the mouth. This somehow helps with the sinuses. This somehow also helps, somehow affects your breathing. You could try it and experiment. And if I can find, I will find for next week his explanation a little bit more, so I can explain it to you a little bit more thoroughly. But there's a purpose to it, putting the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And your head. I think we already talked about that. So just imagine you're lengthening the back of the neck. So you try not to have your chin poking forward. Try and keep yourself nicely aligned. So what you might say, well, how can I be relaxed when I'm sitting upright? Well, eventually, when the body is nicely aligned and you're breathing correctly, your body will fall into place naturally. But you have to remember, as we get older and our muscles get weaker, we're going to be more inclined to do this. So we have to constantly train ourselves to sit up. And when you're breathing correctly, you're going to be thinking better, more clearly, and you'll actually be able to meditate better. You will be able to sleep better. Your mind will be more alert. So just take a nice deep breath for the moment in this posture. We've got a few minutes, so I'm going to do this clarity of consciousness meditation. So Noah, just allow the imagery to just kind of float around your mind. You don't have to do anything. So just try and absorb it as best you can. Be a recipient. You don't have to do anything. So we're going to generate an image of spaciousness, of clarity. So you can imagine you're lying on the top of a hill or a mountain for those of you in those mountainous desert areas. Or if you're in a city, on the top of a building, the highest building in the city, you have an unobstructed view. There's no trees, no buildings, and you're gazing up into a clear blue sky without clouds or pollution or air traffic, drones, nothing. So focus your awareness on this spaciousness and allow yourself to merge with this clear, luminous space. And imagine your body and mind, as well as the surrounding environment, becoming one with this pure, empty space, becoming empty, luminous, and clear without any sense of separation, duality. And hold your awareness in this experience of this empty luminosity, just that, without thinking this or that, without judgments, without discrimination. And this is the pure, clear nature of your mind. Just rest in this space with intense but relaxed awareness, maybe focused awareness. When thoughts and emotions arise from this space, try not to engage. Try not to gravitate towards your thoughts with attraction or push them away with aversion. Simply just watch them arise, abide, and dissolve back into empty spaciousness. Try not to analyze the thoughts and emotions that are arising, or the mind or your experience right now. Just observe whatever arises with perfect neutrality. And as the thoughts pass, bring your awareness back to the clarity of your own mind. Everything that arises, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings and sensations, the experience of sound, smells, and so forth, has the nature of spacious, luminous clarity, formless, space-like clear awareness. This is the nature of your consciousness. So totally relaxed. Stay with this experience with awareness. Just that. That's all. Nothing else to do. Everyone just relax. Come back slowly. Wriggle your fingers and toes. And open your eyes when you're ready. So we have like 4 minutes left, and I'm wondering if anyone has any questions, anything they'd like to say, anything they want to share. Any comments, anything at all?
Venerable Katy, when you were talking about, this would be a visual, you mentioned the lotus meaning enlightenment, the sun meaning emptiness, is that correct? And the moon meaning wisdom and compassion, is that right?
Bodhicitta. Yeah,
Bodhicitta.
compassion.
Okay.
Yeah. That's in the Shakyamuni Buddha meditation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, the sun is usually represented as wisdom, and the moon compassion.
Oh, the sun is wisdom, not emptiness.
Well, they say kind of the same, but anyway,
Yeah.
wisdom,
Yeah.
emptiness, compassion is the moon, and renunciation, lotus. Hello, Phyllis. You want to have something to say? You've got your cat with you. Hi, Puss. Did you want to say anything? No, you're just saying hi. Oh,
Got to unmute. The biggest issue for me is a lot of anxiety at certain points during
right.
any teaching, and it's just so high. But the last meditation I could do, that one I was comfortable with. Just having this mind that will not stay still at all.
Join the club, Phyllis. You know, I think what it is it's your mind's probably no different to anybody else's. You're just seeing it.
That's interesting. Thank you. That's
I mean, you're not alone, my friend, and we all have it. Everybody in this room has some. We have so much going on in our world,
yeah.
and in coming at us in our devices, and everyone has at least one device, if not 3 or 4. So it's tons of information coming in, lots of pressure,
Mhm.
and there are quite a few things that if we chose, we could be anxious about. But I think I don't think you're alone. And I think the thing is, once we start to delve into looking at the mind and you start to see what's there, it's a lot to process.
It really, well, that's helpful. It's
Good.
almost
I
like
hope
I'm
so.
getting a lot more I'm getting a lot more information now, and I'm having a hard time with it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think one way to do is just to sit back and go, oh gosh, that's curious. That's my mind. Uh-huh. Well, I mean, and what a blessing that you can see it, because when you can't see it, it's still there, right?
Right.
And it's informing you and distressing you, and you have no idea what's going on. But if you can see it, you can do something about it. So you're saying the Shakyamuni Buddha meditation was create a certain level of stress, but the clarity of mind.
Yeah, that was
did.
easy. Then I could go into.
Uh-huh.
I guess all the direction in the first meditation, it gets to be more than I can keep up with, right? So
I see. Was I talking too fast?
no, it's just my mind. It's just me. I'm just like easily, overwhelmed and overloaded.
Okay.
Swamped.
So then that type of meditation is probably better for your mind right now, and it could change sometime down in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I will also do then is keep that in mind for our morning meditations, and then we can do this clarity of mind one in the morning as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've been doing a lot of the mantra ones just simply because of what's been going on here, there, and everywhere.
Mhm.
But we can, of course, and I can slow the meditations down so that we can just keep them really, really simple. So we can just focus on the breath. We can do 9-round breathing. And in fact, I might do that next week. We haven't done 9-round breathing for a long, long time. I think it would be extremely helpful for you.
Yeah, isn't that what I'll ask Lou or Shayla, isn't that what our new Geshe is doing, the 9-round?
Yes, it
Would you
is.
share?
But Geshitashi,
Geshe
but he
Tashi?
doesn't really explain it well.
Thank
So
you.
it's kind of hard to
Thought it
follow
was me.
Okay.
because
No, and yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes
good.
when I
Do
first
it.
learned the 9-round breathing, I had no idea what I was doing. I think Venerable Renee was the first time I did it with Venerable Renee, and I was like, he gave a few instructions, and then we had to work it out ourselves.
Well,
And it was,
Venerable Katy does it very well, so you won't
Okay.
get lost.
Okay.
we can do that. I actually am following very closely Lama Yeshe's instructions as I was instructed by Venerable Rabina. So
Oh, good.
the thing is, I learned a lot having to figure, and it was kind of a blessing that I think also sometimes when it's being taught in a way that's a little bit obscure, there might be a reason for that. But I myself, I don't like too much mystery, so I like I like it to be clear, So we can do that next week. We'll do 9-round breathing next week. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries. And I just wanted to check in with Margaret, Noah, and Kimberly. If you had anything to say, I have got half an hour between now and my next session, so I'm going to run and eat some dinner. But does anyone have anything that they're kind of busting to talk about before we close?
I just want to say this class is great. I love this class.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so sorry about the technical issues. Hopefully, I will get it sorted out for next week. Okay, no questions. Thank you so much, Kimberly.
Thank you from my end as well. It's been a pleasure to be here, and I'm just happy to be learning everything I can. So, but no specific questions yet. So,
okay. Well, hope you come back next week. We'll just keep continuing in this format, and hopefully I'll have my slideshow ready. proud of my slideshow. I'm so sure that didn't work. Okay, you guys, I will see you in 30 minutes. And thank you very, very much. Thank you for hosting, Lou. And thank you, Shayla and Susan and Margaret, Phyllis, Kimberly, and Noah. Lots of love, everyone. And I'll see some of you very, very soon. Noah, you're very welcome to join our Vajrasattva, but it might be more than you can. It's lots of mantra and lots of visualization. So maybe not just yet, but if you're interested, you're very welcome to come along.